Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is July 1st, 2010. This is day 9 daily number 149, and because, of course, it is July 1st, that means Happy Canada Day. Happy Canada Day to all my Canadian friends up north, and of course, they're all just like, hey, and I'm like, amen. I'd like to celebrate how awesome you fine folks are this evening. And of course, the main focus of the celebration is White Rot and his general suave play. So what we're going to be looking at in about 2-3 minutes or so is variations on two-gate openings in Protoss vs. Zerg. As you probably heard me say many, many times, I love two-gate. I love two-gating Zerg. It's so fun to open two gateways and be aggressive with Zealots because of how it kind of forces the Zerg into some small paths, and then you can abuse that with various other cool things. But before we do any of that, I want to show you a very fun activity, which is to get your local newspaper. For me, it was the LA Weekly, and just to search through it for things that are hilarious. So, for instance, you want to learn to meditate? Look, I just cut this right out of the LA Weekly. Look at how not savory this man is. Look at him. This guy can help you meditate. And of course, another amazing article was Peanut Butter Miracles. I mean, seriously, I'm not making this up. You can clearly tell I cut this out of a news magazine from the LA Weekly. Of course, if any of you are wanting to pick that up. And I mean, look at this. I even cut a caption out from the Peanut Butter Miracles thing that says, Dr. Patricia Wolf set up a grinder in a church in Haiti and began making peanut butter. And that's all it says. That's apparently inspirational. I love that. I just want to if I had a locker here in my house, I would totally put it up there so people could get a sense of who I was, or at least, it could be very misleading. So that's always a lot of fun. Because the thing is that you just need to do more fun things during your day. Anything you can do to spice up your day, I'm all for it. So for instance, something that I've personally been doing is every time I go use the bathroom, I play the song YMCA by the Village People in my head, right? And I even do the da 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 da. It makes going to the bathroom a lot harder, but it's a lot more fun, right? It definitely makes using the restroom far more entertaining as usual. So of course, with entertainment in mind, let's go ahead and hop on over to our good friend White Raw, because of course everyone loves White Raw. And he is playing against the famous American player Machine. Machine is, going at warp speed. Machine is another very famous player from the team EG. Of course, he's one of the fine folks who's over at gosucoaching.com. And if for some reason that's inaccurate, then whatever. I like gosucoaching.com, so I'm happy to plug him. But yes, Machine's an EG, and the team EG is a very interesting group of people. They're always extremely nice to everyone, except each other. Whenever you see them duke it out, they have serious grudge matches within the team. It's always unbelievable fine entertainment from the fine folks at EG. But either way, enough plugging of Machine, who is a fine fellow who I met in real life, and is such a suave gentleman. Enough plugging of that guy. White Rot is two-gating with sound now. Isn't that great? So, what I love so much about two-gating is a couple of things. First of all, we already make a nice little wall, so we can easily set up a fast expansion. I'm not the biggest fan of two-gating up on top of the ramp. I don't see the big purpose of it, especially because closing off tight spaces is just so easy. It's not like in the original Starcraft, where really it was hard to close off a space, so using your ramp was pretty important. A lot easier. And you're not going to hear me mention too much about the food counts of the two-gate. I'm just going to mention two-gating. Not going to go into anything like the difference between a 12-gate, 13-gate, and something like a 10-gate, 10-gate. That's really not the focus of it. It's more, we're going to see the second awesome thing about the two-gate, which is what it forces our Zerg opponent to do. Now, looking at Machine, what is he doing? The most normal thing in the world. He's getting a spawning pool early. He has not gassed yet. He's making more drones and overlords. It looks like he is gearing up for an expansion. But uh-oh, Machine ends up seeing that there are two gateways here, so he definitely needs to respond in some fashion. Now, typically you get people to not early expand. If they do early expand, if for some reason they decide to go spawning pool directly into a hatchery right here, you can just kill them. You can, or at the very least do significant damage, because Zealots are just so much stronger than Zerglings, especially if the small numbers of Zerglings are trying to defend a just started hatchery. So this is an increasingly typical response that we will see from Zerg players, which is to get the gas immediately upon seeing the two-gate, get a queen out as normal, but then to get a Roach Warren. Sure, we see some Zerglings, but we should have a Roach Warren coming up at some point. Yep, there's the Roach Warren going down right now. And this is an incredibly fun thing to deal with, is you pretty much know all the possibilities that your Zerg opponent is going to do. We're going to just explore this one today, 2-gate into this Roach Warren response for Zerg. But even with that, we see that there's a lot of cool possibilities that this allows for. So look at White Ra rallying his gateways to the Zealots. Very, very nice technique. It definitely ensures that you end up bolstering your army super effectively, that nothing gets lost along the way. Roach Warren coming up. And generally when you have about 5-ish Zealots out and you move into attack, that's about the time when the Roach Warren is going to finish. Or excuse me, when all the larvae from your first queen are going to finish. And it coincidentally means that Machine has lined that up as well. I definitely think that White Ra should not have pulled back when it was just a queen and the 8 Zerglings. He just should have trudged forward, man. He could have done some serious hurt there. But I mean, with 4 Zealots, he's going to do a lot of damage. And now this is the one thing. This game is an example of what I would call a little bit more normal of a 2-gate with some of the problems. Look at this timing by Machine. It feels very just barely, right? It feels like, oh my god, how intense. You know, oh my god, look at him just barely holding this off. Now, I'm not going to lie. If for some reason this was in like a show match that I was casting, I would totally, oh my god, just getting him out in time. And you know, if I was Zerg in a tournament, my heart would be pounding as the Roach Warren gets up. But when you 2-gate enough, and because this isn't a commentary, this is an analysis, this timing is pretty typical. Around the time you get 5 Zealots, the Roaches will pop out and force you to run back home. So you kind of have to have some other plan in mind. So of course White Ra is getting some cannons up. If you cut the Zealots, sometimes you can squeeze the Nexus before the cannons. Got to be a little bit careful of that. But either way, this Roach counterattack is not really the significant part of this play by Machine. Like, most of the time the Zergs will not actually be able to pull this off. And Machine does end up pulling back because, is there any harassment going on? No, it looks like he just wants to pull back. It's a little bit risky when you don't have that many Roaches and there are not more Roaches coming. You pretty much just get the surge from that first set of larvae coming off that queen. But either way, so this is the situation we're going to see ourselves in the 3 games we're going to watch today. We 2-gate and our opponent responds with some sort of 1-base Roach play. Now, this is the ordinary look of pretty much, I would say 90% of the 2-gate that I have seen, where the Zerg player will get some Roaches, generally 2 or 3, but Machine got about 6 or 7 to be aggressive with. Either way, you just get some Roaches, you expand, and then you only make drones. As we're going to see in Machine's production tab up here in the top left, we're only going to see drones. This is very, very typical, right? Because if Zerg does make all of these Roaches, he doesn't really have that good of an economy, so he needs to make up for it by kind of sprinting back ahead. And White Ra is just expanding, transferring exactly 1 probe. Always good to get at least someone mining at the expansion. Okay, good, there we go. There's the probe transfer. Yeah, he's transferring. He's continuing to make Zealots, kind of an interesting choice. And what I really, really want to emphasize that we're not going to see an extraordinary amount of, but it's still very useful to note. Zealots feel really weak against Roaches. It just kind of feels that way in small numbers. Like, these Roaches will probably feel a little bit brave against these Zealots and be able to pick them off like this. Look at that very nice micro. But if you incorporate 2 Stalkers into this mix of Zealots, you become way more strong. You can do a lot more aggression. And see, Machine hasn't really taken any hits yet, but imagine if there was just 1 Stalker in there shooting away at everything. It would be very difficult for Machine to deal with. Now, I definitely think that this is a good overall timing for White Ra to attack. Perhaps not the best composition to attack with. I would have preferred to wait for the Cybernetics core to finish, but either way, Stalkers out. I want to really emphasize that early on. We're starting to see a lot more players just push with some small number of Zealots, and even 1 Stalker is enough to deal with Roaches very, very, very well. But since the point of this daily is variations on 2-gate, the reason I began with this one is this is the most normal looking 2-gate follow through in the world. I 2-gate, I get up my expansion, and then I just get a bunch of gateways to do some warp gate pushing action. We're going to see kind of how that ends up behaving here in this game. There's really not going to be anything too insane or counterintuitive coming up here, but look at this very nice calm control by White Ra. Oh yes, we love that. And getting the sentries up. Just always remember this general concept. If you're making a very gas-heavy unit, it frees up your minerals to do other things. That's why people go sentries as they add on gateways. I dislike that there is no +1 upgrade going on here. I actually dislike that a lot, but either way, the general idea of getting 7 warp gates very, very quickly works great. I mean, 4 warp gate pushing is awesome. You know, just going Zealot, Sentry, Stalker. So 7 warp gate pushing is still going to be awesome. Machine's doing a very smart move, I think, which is to get the Hydralisks up very quickly and to skip upgrades. Just get his drone count up very high. As we've had this production tab up, we've seen almost exclusively drones get made. A few more Roaches got added on, but either way, lots and lots and lots of Hydralisks coming out right now, because that's really the only way that Machine can hope to deal with this gigantic push. And we're going to speed this up a little bit just so we can get to the action-y part, and also so we can get to the other set of replays that I want to